Lipids. The lipids in the cell membrane are arranged in a bilayer, with the hydrophobic, water-fearing, tails facing each other and the hydrophilic, water-loving, heads facing outwards. This arrangement allows the cell membrane to be both water-resistant and flexible. Proteins. The proteins in the cell membrane are responsible for a variety of functions, including transporting molecules into and out of the cell, signaling between cells, recognizing other cells, attaching the cell to other cells or to the extracellular matrix. Carbohydrates. The carbohydrates in the cell membrane are attached to the proteins and lipids. They help to identify the cell to other cells and to the immune system. Semi-permeable. The cell membrane is semi-permeable, which means that it allows some molecules to pass through it, but not others. This selective permeability allows the cell to control the composition of its internal environment. Outer boundary of living cell. The cell membrane is the outer boundary of the living cell. It separates the cell from its environment and protects the cell from harmful substances. Helps in giving shape to cells. The cell membrane helps to give the cell its shape. The proteins and carbohydrates in the cell membrane help to anchor the cell to other cells and to the extracellular matrix. Also helps in cell-to-cell communication. The proteins in the cell membrane help to signal between cells. This signaling allows cells to communicate with each other and to coordinate their activities. Cell nucleus. Parts of cell nucleus. Nucleoplasm. The nucleoplasm is the fluid inside the nucleus. It contains the chromosomes, nucleoli, and other nuclear components. Chromosomes. Chromosomes are structures that contain the genetic material of the cell. They are made up of DNA and protein. Nucleolus. The nucleolus is a small, dense body in the nucleus. It is responsible for the production of ribosomes. 7. Nuclear membrane. The nuclear membrane is a double membrane that surrounds the nucleus. It controls the passage of materials into and out of the nucleus. The following are the important points of the nucleus. The nucleus is the control center of the cell. It contains the genetic material, which controls all of the cell's activities. The chromosomes are the carriers of genetic information. They are made up of DNA, which is the genetic material of the cell. The nucleolus is responsible for the production of ribosomes. Ribosomes are the protein factories of the cell. The nuclear membrane controls the passage of materials into and out of the nucleus. It helps to protect the genetic material from damage. Chromatin, DNA, and proteins. Chromatin. Chromatin is the material that makes up chromosomes. It is made up of DNA and proteins. DNA. DNA is the genetic material of the cell. It is a double-stranded molecule that contains the instructions for building and maintaining the cell. Proteins. Proteins are essential molecules that perform a variety of functions in the cell. They are made up of amino acids. Histone. Histones are proteins that are found in chromatin. They help to package DNA into a compact form. Non-histone. Non-histone proteins are proteins that are not found in chromatin. They perform a variety of functions in the cell, such as regulating gene expression and DNA repair. Humane DNA. The DNA of a human cell contains about 3 billion base pairs. Thread. The DNA in a cell is organized into a thread-like structure called chromatin. 23 pairs of chromosomes. A human cell has 23 pairs of chromosomes. Each chromosome contains a single DNA molecule. 46 chromosomes. A human cell has a total of 46 chromosomes. Condensation. During cell division, the chromatin condenses into chromosomes. This allows the chromosomes to be more easily separated. Cell dividing. Cell division is the process by which cells replicate the DNA and divide into two new cells. Phagocytosis. Phagocytosis is the process by which cells engulf and destroy foreign particles. Mitochondria. Mitochondria. Mitochondria are organelles that are found in the cells of most living organisms. They are responsible for producing energy for the cell. Cristae. The cristae are folds of the inner membrane of the mitochondria. They increase the surface area of the membrane, which allows more ATP to be produced. ATP. ATP is the energy currency of the cell. It is used to power all of the cell's activities, such as movement, growth, and reproduction. Oxidation of food. Mitochondria produce ATP by oxidizing food molecules. This process releases energy, which is used to synthesize ATP. 8. Semi-autonomous organelle. Mitochondria have their own DNA and ribosomes. This means that they can produce some of their own proteins, but they still need to rely on the cell for other proteins. Increase in number. The number of mitochondria in a cell can increase if the cell needs more energy. This happens, for example, when the cell is dividing or when the cell is under stress. Powerhouse of the cell. Mitochondria are often called the powerhouses of the cell because they produce so much energy. Breakdown of glucose. Mitochondria break down glucose molecules to produce ATP. This process is called cellular respiration. Energy production. Mitochondria are responsible for the production of energy in the cell. They do this by breaking down glucose molecules and using the released energy to create ATP molecules. Chloroplast. Chloroplast. Chloroplasts are organelles found in plant cells. They are the site of photosynthesis, the process by which plants use sunlight to convert carbon dioxide and water into oxygen and glucose. Only in plant cells. Chloroplasts are only found in plant cells. This is because they contain chlorophyll, a green pigment that is essential for photosynthesis. Own DNA. Chloroplasts have their own DNA. This means that they can produce some of their own proteins, but they still rely on the cell for other proteins and nutrients. Ribosomes. Chloroplasts have their own ribosomes. These are used to produce proteins. Thylakoid membrane. The thylakoid membrane is a series of flattened sacs that are found inside the chloroplast. These sacs are where the light-dependent reactions of photosynthesis take place. Grana. The grana are stacks of thylakoid membranes. They are where the light-dependent reactions of photosynthesis are most concentrated. Stroma. The stroma is the fluid that surrounds the thylakoids. This is where the Calvin cycle, the light-independent reactions of photosynthesis, take place. Photosynthesis. Photosynthesis is the process by which plants use sunlight to convert carbon dioxide and water into oxygen and glucose. Steps of photosynthesis. The steps of photosynthesis are 1. Light-dependent reactions. These reactions use sunlight to split water molecules and produce oxygen and ATP. 2. Calvin cycle. These reactions use ATP and NADPH to reduce carbon dioxide and produce glucose. The endoplasmic reticulum, ER. Endoplasmic reticulum. The endoplasmic reticulum, ER, is a network of membranes that is found in the cytoplasm of all eukaryotic cells. It is responsible for a variety of functions, including protein synthesis. The ER is the site of protein synthesis. Ribosomes are attached to the ER, and they produce proteins that are destined for export from the cell or for use within the cell. Lipid synthesis. The ER is also involved in lipid synthesis. Lipids are essential for the structure and function of cell membranes. Transport. The ER helps to transport proteins and lipids around the cell. Storage. The ER can store proteins and lipids. 9. Rough endoplasmic reticulum. The rough endoplasmic reticulum, RER, is covered in ribosomes. This gives it a rough appearance, hence the name. The RER is responsible for protein synthesis. Smooth endoplasmic reticulum. The smooth endoplasmic reticulum, SER, does not have ribosomes attached to it. This gives it a smooth appearance, hence the name. The SER is involved in lipid synthesis, detoxification, and calcium storage. Urea. Urea is a waste product that is produced by the liver. It is transported from the liver to the kidneys, where it is excreted in the urine. Water. Water is essential for life. It is used in a variety of cellular processes, including protein synthesis, metabolism, and transport. Synthesis. The synthesis refers to the process of making proteins and lipids. Detoxification. The SER is involved in detoxification by metabolizing drugs and other harmful substances. Calcium storage. Calcium is an important mineral that is involved in a variety of cellular processes, including muscle contraction, nerve signaling, and blood clotting. The SER stores calcium, which can be released when needed. Centriole. Centrioles are found in animal cells only. They are involved in cell division. Function. Centrioles help to organize the microtubules that are used to pull the chromosomes apart during cell division. Lysosomes. Lysosomes. Lysosomes are organelles found in all eukaryotic cells. They are responsible for the breakdown of cellular waste products. Function. Lysosomes contain enzymes that break down proteins, carbohydrates, lipids, and nucleic acids. They also help to remove damaged organelles from the cell. In case of injury, lysosomes can also be involved in the defense against pathogens. They can release their enzymes to kill bacteria and other harmful microbes. Golgi bodies. Golgi bodies. Golgi bodies are organelles found in all eukaryotic cells. They are responsible for the packaging and secretion of proteins. Function. Golgi bodies receive proteins from the endoplasmic reticulum and modify them by adding sugar molecules and other post-translational modifications. They then transport the modified proteins to other organelles or to the cell surface for secretion. Cystine. The Golgi bodies are made up of a stack of flattened sacs called cystinae. Modification and packaging of proteins. Golgi bodies are responsible for the modification and packaging of proteins. They add sugar molecules and other post-translational modifications to proteins, which helps them to fold correctly and function properly. They also package proteins into vesicles that can be transported to other organelles or to the cell surface for secretion. Complex sugar. Golgi bodies are also involved in the synthesis of complex sugars. These sugars are used to build cell walls, membranes, and other structures. 10. Organelle. Function. Nucleus. Contains DNA, brain of the cell. Mitochondria. Energy production, powerhouse of cell. Chloroplast, only in plant cell. Photosynthesis, kitchen of cell. Endoplasmic reticulum. Synthesis of proteins, lipids, remove toxins from cell. Golgi bodies. Modification of proteins, packaging. Vacuole. Storage, water, nutrients, waste. Ribosomes. Synthesis of proteins, protein factory of the cell. Lysosome. Cell digestion, suicidal bags of cell. Centrioles, only in animal cell. Help in cell division. Q. Which of the following statements are correct regarding the general difference between plant and animal cells? 2020. 1. Plant cells have cellulose cell walls whilst animal cells do not. 2. Plant cells do not have plasma membranes unlike animal cells which do. 3. Mature plant cell has one large vacuole whilst an animal cell has many small vacuoles. Select the correct answer using the code given below. A. 1 and 2 only. B. 2 and 3 only. C. 1 and 3 only. D. 1, 2 and 3.